Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us here on 9 News Watch. I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi with an update on our looming winter storm. Denver under its second winter storm warning of the season. That upgrade happening from the Weather Service just about an hour or so ago. But the rain, the snow has not started yet. Trust me, we're not far away from getting in on some of that. Taking a look here at the radar and the statewide radar, we're seeing some of that snow for us mainly confined to the mountains, where at times that snow is fairly heavy into the foothills, and also around Vail Pass, the Eisenhower Tunnel, Loveland Pass. That's where it's been snowing throughout most of the day, but that moisture hasn't quite made its way over the Rockies and into the Front Range, at least not quite yet, though we're starting to see a few raindrops perhaps in around Boulder as well as Greeley. That is just the very start of our storm system. The Palmer Divide, a little bit of snow perhaps at the highest elevations out that way as well. But again, this is just the very beginning of our system as we expect it to move on in later on this afternoon and this evening. It will start as rain over the next hour or two in Denver, and then it will transition to snow somewhere between about 8 and 11, perhaps as late as midnight tonight. By the time a lot of you go to bed tonight, around, let's say, 10, 11, or 12 tonight, you may not see a ton of snow, if any, on the ground here in Denver. It is overnight when the heaviest snow moves its way through the metro area, and by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, we could be talking about a widespread 3 to 7 inches of snow for us in Denver, with much higher amounts in the foothills, west and south of the city, with some spots perhaps looking at over 15 inches worth of snowfall before all is said and done. I'll have more on totals in just a second. Now, tomorrow morning, we'll likely have some big issues with the morning commute in and around the Denver area. I would anticipate a combination of slushy wet snow combined with some ice as well. I do think we're going to have some patchy ice out there on the roads as well. So it's going to be pretty nasty out there for that morning commute. And I would anticipate a longer than usual drive in tomorrow morning. As a result, that snow entirely comes to a close tomorrow night, but I think through the day tomorrow we'll see some light snow throughout. I don't think it'll stick a lot, as those temperatures will generally be above freezing, plus the high March sun angle should keep snow mostly at bay through the day tomorrow. Again, I think the majority of the accumulation comes tonight. Closer look in here at the Denver area. Again, over the next, I would say, 1 to 2 hours, we'll see the rain develop towards the tail end of our evening commute. And by about 7 o'clock, just about everybody's seeing rain, but you get up around 6,500 or 7,000 feet. That's where the snow will start to transition into the foothills and the Palmer Divide. And then, as the evening wears on, the sun goes down, we'll pull in some colder air, and everybody flips over to snow somewhere around, again, 8 to midnight tonight. And we'll see that snow initially struggle to accumulate, but it will start to stick right around, I would say, 10, 11, or 12 tonight, and then it'll continue through the overnight hours. Then by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, we'll have a few inches of snow on the ground, a little bit of slush out on the roadways, and then that snow does continue through the day tomorrow, but the majority of the accumulation will be over and done with by the time you wake up tomorrow morning. Current temperatures still a bit warm out there, 53 in Denver, 47 in Fort Collins. I think that 53-degree air temperature tells us in Denver that's going to take a while for us to flip from rain to snow, as we're going to need to pull in a lot of colder air. We're still 21 degrees above freezing, so again, it's going to take some time for us to get down into the snow threshold. Now, tonight, we're going to be talking about that rain changing over to snow. Low temperature around 29 degrees. That'll probably come after midnight or so tonight. Winter storm warnings, as mentioned, for us here into Denver. In the foothills, the Palmer Divide, 6 to 12 inches plus of accumulation. The mountains, 4 to 10 inches, and 4 to 10 inches expected for the wet mountains as well. Walsenburg, Trinidad, 3 to 6 inches for our friends out that way. Now, here's what I think we're going to be looking at once all is said and done with our upcoming storm system. I think we wind up somewhere between about 3 and 6, maybe 3 and 7 inches worth of accumulation in Denver. The majority of that very heavy, wet, slushy snow. And then the foothills and the Palmer Divide, we could be talking about 10 inches plus, fairly widespread, especially above 6,500 feet. Castle Rock, 8, 9, 10 inches, very likely out that way. Conifer, Evergreen, Eldora, 10, 11, 12 inches plus, and somebody will come in with 15, 16 inches out of this storm system. And by the way, if you're doing snow shoveling tomorrow in the Palmer Divide and the foothills, keep in mind this is going to be one of those very heavy, wet snows. So remember to be careful with use your knees instead of your back to make sure that you are not putting too much strain on your back if you are shoveling that snow. And if you've had health issues, I'll say it, I did it as a kid. Pay the neighbor 20, 25 bucks or whatever the going rate is these days to shovel your driveway for you. It's again going to be that very heavy, wet snow that is a real pain to shovel on up. Now, I would say this as well, and just being transparent about this, we have a lot more uncertainty with this snow forecast than we do with most storms. Reason why is that the exact timing of when we flip from rain to snow will dictate whether or not we're talking about, say, 2 or 3 inches in Denver versus perhaps 5 or 6. Also, exactly how cold it gets will determine how much snow we end up with. So if we're talking about, say, a low temperature of 25 or 26 versus 29 or 30, we'll be getting a lot more snow if we end up with that 25, 26 degree threshold. And then also how long that heavy snow lasts for, that will be really key in determining how much snow we get. So long story short, we've got more uncertainty than usual with this upcoming snow event. So a bit of an overview. I know I've kind of thrown a lot of information at you. This is what I would summarize everything with. We get that rain to start in the next hour or two here in Denver. We'll flip the snow after the evening commute. I don't think the evening commute tonight will be too impacted by what's coming on up. And then we'll have some pretty big issues for that morning commute, especially in the Palmer Divide and in the foothills with 3 to 7 inches in Denver. Foothills Divide, 8 to 16 inches, I think is a fairly safe bet for many of us. 7-day forecast, we get those temperatures back up into the 50s for Friday and Saturday before, you guessed it, more rain and more snow early next week. And that storm could be a fairly strong one. We'll have to keep an eye on that one, but it does look like that could be a fairly potent storm if things pan out for the early part of next week. So hopefully that's given you a pretty good idea about what to expect with this upcoming snowstorm. Again, we'll start as rain the next hour or two, flip to snow by the time we get to around 9, 10 o'clock or so for most of the metro area. And then by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, we'll probably have a good 3, 4 inches of snow on the ground here in Denver, with some spots perhaps above a foot of snow once all is said and done tomorrow afternoon in the foothills and along the Palmer Divide. So a lot of action to get into here over the next few hours. Meteorologist Danielle Grant will be with you on 9 News at 5, 6, 9, and 10 this evening with continued updates on the snow as well. In the meantime, I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi. Stay safe out there, and thanks for joining us here on 9 News Watch.